From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Hi, I'm David Gruber. When you've been seriously injured, you need the best team of professionals on your side. Call Wisconsin's own Gruber Law Offices to get the results you deserve. One call, that's all.
What are you trying to do?
I want to stand while I work. Standing desks are all the rage these days.
You know these new desks move up and down, right?
What? They do?
Yeah, they're not messing around here.
This is great. Now, only if I had a chair to swivel around in.
Do you not pay attention?
Well, no wonder I'm not getting much done these days.
Coakley Brothers and Brothers Interiors, the official moving and furniture provider of GKB Milwaukee.
We know that the people of Wisconsin are hard workers, that they're tough. But even the toughest among us need help after a serious accident. If you've been injured, call Gruber Law Offices today. One call, that's all.
Hey, this is Tony Smith. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI, WKTI HD Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust.
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the
It's a
Avenue.
party, baby.
This is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob
It's a
Ultra
party, baby.
on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a party, baby. Woo. It's a party, baby.
Happy Friday! Welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra across ESPN Wisconsin. He is Brewers Benny Brust.
Big time Benny Brewers.
You can't call yourself big time.
No, I'm saying, like, if I were you usually go big time Benny and then
I've been
alliteration.
called big time Benny consistently in a while. I'll mix it in here.
Yeah, I mean, you definitely have baited me a little bit. Little big time. Like,
Well, so I haven't gone little in a while. I haven't made height jokes in a long time.
not on the air at least. Yesterday, I think you did at the Guarding Against Cancer
Yeah,
event.
but nobody heard it.
I did. That's all that counts. It just hurt a little bit when I had said, I'm 6'2", and then you go like, really?
All right, well, we settled it. You're not 6'2". You're not even a full 6'1".
I know, but it doesn't mean it still doesn't hurt me that I lied
You're
to myself.
talking to your former basketball coach, Greg Gard. Shout out to the Guards. Shout out to Guarding Against Cancer. Big event tonight at the Cole
$7
Center.
million plus raised already. It's an amazing
Sold out.
organization.
It's going to be awesome tonight at the Cole Center. Hopefully you're on your way there right now. But last night we were with a lot of that crew hanging out. And Ben is talking about himself as a 6'2" person. Meanwhile, he full well knows you are rounding up 6'1", not rounding up 6'2".
Oh,
you are rounding up 6'1".
I'm straight 6'1".
You're not even a full 6'1". You're
I'm straight
6 foot and 7'8".
We're not going to do that. We're not going to. You know what? I feel really good about the show that we're going to have today. I think in order to achieve that,
I'll call you 6'1". My point is you're not 6'2", and you're still lying to yourself and everybody else.
Yeah, but if
you ever heard me say 5'9", if you ever heard me be like, "Hey, I'm 5'9", you'd call me out.
Of course, but that's 2 inches taller than you are.
No.
I'm only going an inch. Now, that's what she said, Chris. The one thing I will say is when you've convinced yourself of a lie for so long,
fair.
I need to retrain.
That's
you know what I mean?
I get it.
I got to retrain myself to call myself 6'1".
Just trying
and
to
you're
help
holding me accountable to that, which I'm happy for. But I'm gonna slip up and say I'm 6'2" for quite some time. And by the way, with shoes, even at 6'1", I'm probably 6'2".
It's not how you do it. It's not how you do it. Speaking of accountability, Coach Bud dismissed yesterday by the Milwaukee Bucks, no longer the head coach for the Bucks, and the attention turns to who is the next coach for the Milwaukee Bucks franchise. Who is the next coach that will get them back to a parade where they're hoisting the Larry O'Brien trophy in the heart of Milwaukee? Who is that person? 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Who do you want the Bucks to hire as their next head coach? And as we know, there's a lot more to this than just who is the next coach. It has to do with the future of Giannis. How long is that window here in Milwaukee? What happens to Chris Middleton? What happens to Brook Lopez? And Brian Windhorst had something to say earlier today on Get Up that was interesting as it pertains to what that conversation is in and around the building. Here's what Windy had to say on Get Up this morning.
What does this tell you about the Bucks' future and specifically Giannis?
CJ, you're a businessman. Let's say you own an NBA team. Mm-hmm. Every ticket is sold. Every suite is sold. You own the real estate around the arena. Tenants are sold. You have an MVP in his prime under contract. Why would you sell?
You didn't do it, Wendy.
Why would you sell?
Yeah, you're supposed to.
Well, while we were up here arguing about who the MVP was going to be or whether the Lakers were going to make the playoffs, one of the most important things in the NBA happened when the owner of the Bucks, Mark Lazary, sold in the middle of this season.
So why did he do it?
Because of the thundercloud that is on the horizon that we are now hearing the first round.
Are you saying what I think?
Yes, he is.
Why?
Yes, he
why
is.
yeah. Why would he sell? He sold number one because he got $3.2 billion valuation.
Yes.
He bought for $700, sold for $3.2. That's pretty good.
That's a pretty good reason.
He also sold because he knew that there was problems coming, and it wasn't because of anything that the Bucks did or any mistake. When a team like this in a mid-market competes for 5 or 6 years, there becomes pressure. Giannis has a contract extension this offseason. Now, he's under contract for 2 more years. But if he doesn't sign that extension, orange light, we got problems. They've got 2 free agents in their 30s, Brook Lopez, Chris Middleton, with the repeater tax starting for them next year, and a bunch of new rules, which CJ knows better than anybody because the man negotiated the contract. The rules are set up to penalize teams that are high salary teams, hamstringing them, and they have to decide on a coach and whether to pay 2 30-year-olds, whether or not, and Giannis can't decide on his extension until September. It's the chicken and egg theory. The Bucks are in a quagmire, and we have the first move with the firing of Budenholzer yesterday.
If you're saying what I think you're saying,
which he is,
where's Giannis going?
You're getting too far ahead of yourself because if I were the Bucks, I would exhaust that. But the Bucks have a real challenge in front of them. And if I'm interviewing for coach, like people are already talking about Nick Nurse.
Yeah.
If I sit down on Nick Nurse, my first question is,
take that job without knowing he's going to be there.
And you can't take the job whether you know you're going to sign the 2 30-year-olds. And it's hard to sign the 2 30-year-olds if you don't know Giannis is going to extend. The owner sold.
That's good, Chris. That's good. And so I think it's interesting in the sense that, and I think there's a little fear mongering there. Quite frankly, I think there's a little bit of provocation in terms of what could potentially happen. And we went through this years ago with Giannis as well, when the whole world, especially nationally, convinced themselves that he was gone and the whole sky was falling, and none of it was really
because
true.
of his relationship with Jason Kidd was so strong.
And there's a lot more behind the scenes than Windy is getting into there that we're not going to get into. But I do think it points to the importance of who that next coach is and how they can take advantage of this window with Giannis. And there is questions about that option with Chris Middleton this next year and what happens with him. And there is questions about what happens with Brook Lopez at this stage in his career. I don't worry at all about the tax. I think as much people want to talk about Jimmy Haslam, the one nice thing about it, he's got oodles and oodles of money, and he's not going to be fearful of any tax implications as long as they're poised to win a championship.
Mm-hmm. Which one would assume if you have Giannis, you're putting yourself in a position to every year.
But it does put a little bit more pressure on what this coaching decision is and who you want that coach to be.
Look, Greg, I don't like... When it comes to the names that have been thrown out, I'll just throw out 3 names right now.
Okay.
Becky Hammond from the Las Vegas Aces, Ty Lue from the Clippers, and then you have Nick Nurse, who was recently let go of the Toronto Raptors. I can't think of any reason why those 3 coaches would be better than Mike Budenholzer. Sure, I can make some arguments as that they would be equal to, but if that's the case, like you're moving on from a guy that won you a championship, and you're gonna talk about bringing in 3 people that again, don't move the needle. We're not talking about bringing in Eric Spoelstra. We're not talking about bringing in Steve Kerr. We're talking about bringing people in that, if it was Becky Hammond, it would be her first stint as a head coach in the NBA. She has assistant coaching experience in the NBA under Greg Popovich. She just won a WNBA title. But in Giannis's prime, I am not in favor of a first-year NBA head coach. So then we go to Nick Nurse. Yes, he's also one that won an NBA title in his first year as an NBA head coach. That's great. He had Kawhi Leonard. After that, obviously, things didn't pan out. It's hard to win in Toronto if you don't have a star like a Giannis. I think it'd be interesting to see what he could do. But I think it was interesting to see what Bud could do, and he got it done. So let's move to Ty Lue. He won a championship after he was an assistant, and then since then, it's been a lot of bopping around. You can't tell me that those three names excite you, right? That they move the needle to the point where you're like, oh, baby, we got rid of Bud, and this is what we're getting? None of the three names do that to me.
I think they excite Bucks fans for a couple reasons. One is they're not Bud, and sometimes it's not the right logical way to think about it, but sometimes new equates in people's mind as better, right?
Yeah, my old How I Met Your Mother quote from Barney, new is always better.
And so, at some point, I do think coaches see the end of their run. I'm not saying that's what happened with Bud, but I do think at some point, new can ultimately create a new dynamics there. I think Nurse, a lot of Bucks fans believe, outcoached Budenholzer in that 2019 Eastern Conference Finals.
The Bucks were up 2-0.
Bucks were up 2-0. Raptors came back and won it. I think Becky Hammond is exciting for a lot of people because she won in the WNBA, and she's been an up-and-coming coaching candidate for a while, and it's a familiar name. How many top assistants are out there that we wouldn't even, that the average fan wouldn't even know exist necessarily?
I bet Lakers fans didn't know who, the casual Lakers fan didn't know who Darvin Ham was, who was the associate head coach under Bud.
Ime Udoka, who got into a little bit of trouble, was a high assistant, a well-thought-of assistant before he went and coached the Celtics last year. Now, he's not back this year, and he just got signed in Houston. But there's guys and girls out there, right, men and women out there, who have had success that people just might not be aware of. Hammond's been on the radar because she was a top assistant under Coach Pop and then went and had success in the NBA. I don't know who's that excited about Lue. I think Lue is so tied to LeBron James that it's hard for people to separate him, and I don't think a lot of people have a lot of respect is the wrong word, but I don't think people are too excited about former LeBron coaches because they get discarded so quickly.
They're recycled more than my recycling picks up.
And people just say, hey, in the same way that I think people think Aaron Rodgers ran the show in Green Bay, I think people think LeBron just runs the show, whatever team he's on, and the coach is just an afterthought. I do question, how much does the coach really add? Sure, you could point to the top one or two coaches in the NBA, in any league, right? They still need superstars to win. You could say Eric Spoelstra is the best coach in the NBA. He ain't winning an NBA title. The only time he did was with LeBron. Popovich, one of the top coaches in the NBA, he ain't win a title. The only time he did was with Tim Duncan. Now, you have a player like that with Giannis, so if you pair that type of coach with a Giannis, sure, you can build something special, but it's hard to identify who that coach is because unless they have a star,
correct.
Who is it?
Yeah, and if they have a star and they're winning, they're likely still the coach of that team. And so that's where I continue to go back to. There is no doubt. I'm not going to sit here and pretend like what happened in the first round this year wasn't egregious. 16-point and 15-point leads should never be lost, especially with a team that's recently won a championship. But last year, Middleton was down. Everyone was praising Bud for the job that he did, and almost beating the Celtics in Game 7. This year, Giannis gets hurt in the series. Chris Middleton's hurt all season, right? Again, I will go back to this. In a championship culture in which Coach Budenholzer won a championship with the core of the guys that you saw out there in round one, what did Drew Holiday, Giannis, and Chris Middleton and Brook Lopez do to help their coach, right? What did they do to help their coach in those moments? Because I'm not telling them to cross half court and call timeout themselves, right? I'm telling them to have a championship DNA and get by the Miami Heat in the first round. I don't care what happens the rest of the Heat's playoffs. The Bucks should never have lost that series. And again, a lot of the blame is going to go to Bud. He is no longer the head coach. But I will go back to when you asked the question, who replaces Bud? None of the names excite me to the point where they're going to get Giannis. I'd be like, yep, here we go. We're primed for a championship because we got this coach. And so moving on from someone who built something and actually got it done in a city that hasn't won in 50 years, I love that they're holding themselves to a high expectation. They say they want a championship caliber head coach. You had one. And he was a really good coach, well respected around the league. Very interested to see how things play out because it has a bigger effect than Bud. It does tie back to number 34. It does. It all ties back to number 34. How he feels about the next head coach. Does he sign the extension that he has the opportunity to do this offseason, or does he wait 2 years? There are now more question marks than ever before because they got rid of Bud.
Rudy in Sheboygan says, first calls Ben the Bradford Beach bad boy because of Ben's Hawaiian shirt right now. His Milwaukee Brewers Hawaiian shirt. You can catch us on the stream. Stream us on YouTube. Just look up the ESPN Milwaukee stream there, or you can catch the stream on Twitter at Scalzo and Brust. He also says a Mike D'Antoni transition-style, high-scoring offense would look good on our team. Just an idea. Mike D'Antoni had superstars in his career. He had Amari Stoudemire and Steve Nash, didn't win a championship. He had Amari Stoudemire in New York, didn't win a championship.
Didn't he have Melo in New York?
He had Melo in New York as well, didn't win a championship. He went to Houston, he had Chris Paul and James Harden, didn't win a championship. Get D'Antoni out of here. We'll quickly take Jake in Milwaukee. We got Homer coming up next. Jake, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra. What do you got?
Hi, guys. Thanks for taking my call. I know, what do you guys think about Quinn Snyder as a potential replacement? I agree with you that Bud shouldn't have been fired, but what do you guys think about someone like Quinn Snyder?
Jake, I appreciate you always bringing some thoughts.
Thank you, Jake.
Thank you for the call. What do I think about Quinn Snyder? I don't think much. You know, like he just took over the Atlanta job, I think, right? Like,
he did.
So it's Atlanta's bringing him. What's Atlanta? Nowhere near where the Milwaukee Bucks are. You know, so that would be a downgrade. It's hard for me to feel excited about whoever is next, unless it was like Steve Kerr or the next coming of Phil Jackson, which no one's going to be able to predict.
800-990-ESPN. Keep the text coming in. Homer joins us next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
Nobody lies to himself quite like Ben Brust lies to himself.
I believe every word I just said.
Yeah.
Scalzo and Brust, available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Southbound on 43, slowing down from about Silver Spring all the way down past Capitol Drive, on and off the brakes, all the way down into the Marquette, where it starts to let up just a little bit once you get off the high-rise bridge. Westbound 94, you'll see some delays from about 25th Street through the stadium. The eastbound side's going to be slow as well from about 76th Street through the stadium and interchange as well. And then 41 northbound's going to be slow from Blue Mound Road up past Swan Boulevard. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy. Another chance of showers or storms at night, a high of 64 at the lakefront, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Hey, this is Gary Ellison for my good friends at the Jewelry Center. It's the only place I go when I'm looking to get some new jewelry. Dean and his team are always friendly and know just what I'm searching for when I stop by. I may not always know what type of jewelry I want, but the professionals there sure do. Plus, if I need repairs on watches or other jewelry, the Jewelry Center does that too. Find the Jewelry Center in Burlington, Brookfield, and Greenfield, or shop their entire collection online, including their popular Lightbox lab-grown diamonds at shoptjc.com.
Even when you think you know what's going on, you can never be too sure.
All right, Dave in the car. Dave.
I think I'm right.
You're not.
Gabe, I think I'm right.
You're not. I have the list in front of me. You're not.
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
Well, his first name isn't D. His last name is B.
It's still not right.
Ashley, who we got?
Drew Bledsoe?
Play football.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Morning 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN. And available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
all Brewers games are on sale now. Next up, the crew battles the Royals for a weekend duel. Friday, May 12th through Sunday, the 14th. Fulfill your Jedi destiny at Star Wars Night on Saturday, the 13th, and receive a Luke Skywalker bobblehead with purchase of a special ticket package. Plus, take home a one-of-a-kind Brewers wristlet for 10,000 moms on Mother's Day. Sunday, May 14th. Presented by American Family Insurance. Get your seats today at brewers.com/promotions.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
What is dedication?
My biggest fear in the middle of my addiction was that my kids wouldn't have a father. And I started thinking, you know what? This isn't my story. I definitely had to become a better man to be a better father. It's important to me that my kids are empowered and truly believe that if they can think it, they can do it.
That's dedication. Visit fatherhood.gov to hear more. Brought to you by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services and the Ad Council.
Gabe Neitzel here this week on the tee. Stephen Watson and I are going to discuss the latest elevated event on the PGA Tour. Plus, I think finally, maybe, we're getting good enough golf weather that we can get outside, play some golf, and talk about that. It's all coming up Monday at 6 o'clock on the tee, 94.5 ESPN and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
On the Tee with Gabe and Steven, Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra, official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
Even though I know that you really go crazy that I won't give up on you. Should be moving on, but you're the one.
Scalzo and Brust on a Friday across ESPN Wisconsin. Presented by Michelob Ultra. He's Ben Brust. I'm Greg Scalzo. No Josh DiMaggio today. He's still hanging out down in Nashville, Tennessee right now.
What do you think of our guy Joshy in Nashville?
Oh, I think he's going to be good down there.
Yeah, he's good anywhere.
Drink 1,000 Mick Ultras.
Like, it's definitely not his typical scene.
I disagree with that. He won't be in the mix, but I could see him posted up at a bar there while chaos is all ensuing around him.
Yeah.
You're not giving him enough credit.
He's just not a country guy is all I'm getting at.
I agree, but he's a party guy. I think he's doing all right. Speaking of party guys, we're excited to welcome in our guy who you hear every day from 2 to 4 on 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee alongside Chris Larson and Tony Smith on Homer and Tony. It is Steve the Homer True. What's up, Homer?
Bud got fired. The toughest firing in the history of the state of Wisconsin sports. Based on this standard, Matt LaFleur should have been fired at the end of last season. No one knows what to think because this has never happened in the history of Wisconsin sports on any team, college or professional, to succeed like Bud and be fired.
That's a little... I'm not saying you're wrong, Homer. I'm saying it's a little disingenuous because of the lack of championships that have been won, right? The Brewers haven't won a title, so any decision they made is moot because they've never reached the height, the success level that Bud did. The last time the Bucks did was
it even that much more amazing.
I'm not saying
when
it's not.
Something that no one I've undersold.
I'm not.
You said I'm disingenuous.
I'm
no,
not.
It's
I'm saying the stat in itself. I'm not saying anything about what you're saying. What your point may stand true, but the point is there hasn't been a lot of experience here of this happening.
Right, which means if nobody's ever made 100,000, the fact that you would fire someone who made 100,000 makes it even that much more amazing because of the lack of any such success. If anything, that should make it less likely to happen, not more. So I apologize. It's even more unique. Can you be more unique than unique?
So do you think it was the right decision or the wrong decision?
I think that I probably wouldn't have had the guts to do it. But, I mean, what I would have done is ask Giannis. Giannis, we're doing whatever you want, which, of course, they did. And Giannis didn't stop them from doing it. Anybody who was upset that he was fired has Giannis to blame. Because Giannis, no one can argue, could have prevented it. And he chose, I'm not saying he got him fired, but he could have prevented him from getting fired easily.
I've heard you talk about this point, Homer. I just don't know if that's completely fair because Giannis has yet to show LeBron-like symptoms of wanting control over those decisions. I understand your point, but I don't think Giannis has ever been one to come to management and say, I want this or I want that.
No.
He trusted that John Horst would put together a team that would win a championship, and he brought in Drew Holiday. So I understand your point, but I don't think that's in Giannis's DNA to step over people above him in a hierarchy.
Well, it's fine, but then that's why Bud got fired. They clearly asked him, right?
I guess we could agree to disagree that
disagree? You can't disagree.
I'm not going to agree that it's Giannis's fault because it's not in Giannis's DNA.
That's part of it. No, if the owner doesn't do it, then Giannis doesn't have to make this decision because I don't think he started it. But the fact that they said we're going to let him go, given all that Bud had done, Giannis chose not to prevent it, which means part of the reason he got fired is because Giannis chose not to argue or disagree. Because if he had said, "I want Bud back," is Bud back?
I can't get myself again in that scenario. Probably, but I don't. We're playing a hypothetical.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I mean he would be back, but I'm saying that in this hypothetical, I can't get myself to see Giannis in a room with both owners and John Horst being the guy putting his fist down, saying, "You guys don't know what you're doing." Like it's just not who he is.
He doesn't have to say that. Ben, this occurred. This is part of the decision. Do you think they didn't?
The Green Bay Packers drafted Jordan Love without consulting Aaron Rodgers.
What the hell does that have to do with anything?
They didn't consult with him on their next franchise move. This is a big franchise move for the Bucs.
The sky's blue. What the hell does that have to do with this situation? In this situation, do you agree that they informed Giannis of what was happening?
Yes, but I don't think...
Yes or no? Do you agree that if Giannis had said, "I want Bud back," that Bud would still be back?
I honestly think they did it after they made the decision. And there was no changing their mind. And Giannis isn't one to change people's minds.
You can't. You realize what you just said? There's no changing their mind. If Giannis wanted him back, you don't think they would have brought him back? You can't believe that.
I mean, I think there's a few different layers here. I think if Giannis chooses to...
there's no layers.
Let me finish.
Let the voice of reason come from the skies.
I think there's a difference between him abstaining from the situation versus him provoking the situation. You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
And I think that's the distinction that you guys are kind of battling with right now.
That's just phony crap.
That's not phony crap.
But it's irrelevant. No, he could have made sure that Bud come back. Not that he pushed it. He didn't want him fired. They wanted to fire him. They go to Giannis, and Giannis says, "I want Bud back." He's back. And he did not say that.
Should we pull that?
Doesn't mean he got him fired. No one can argue that point that occurred.
So your whole point is that Giannis didn't get Bud fired, but could have prevented him from getting fired.
Yes,
I think that's fair.
Course.
I think that's fair, but I also don't blame Giannis for abstaining in that spot because he might not know. Like I think there are some players who feel like I want to get involved in every level of the organization decisions, every decision at every level of the organization. There's some players who say I want to play basketball. I want to play football. I want to play baseball. I want to play hockey, whatever it is, and I want to do it at the highest possible level. You guys go and do your jobs. I'm going to go and do mine. And I think that's where Giannis falls.
This is not about being involved in every level. That doesn't mean he's involved in every level. They're going to fire his coach, and he doesn't think that guy should be fired. That's not being involved in every level. That's being a part of one decision that he disagrees with.
But
and the
there's
coach
also a
of the
difference.
team.
There's also a difference between disagreeing with a decision versus forcing that decision not to occur. Like, it's possible Giannis disagreed with the decision, but said, "I trust you guys to make the best decisions for the organization. I think Bud should still be the coach, but I'm not going to basically prevent you from going out and seeing if there's a better option." Like,
But he doesn't disagree with the decision. Come on.
No, you can absolutely disagree with a decision and yet
No.
not.
You're working under the assumption that Giannis is going to act like LeBron. That's what you're doing.
No, Giannis can act like LeBron.
But that's the thing. He can, but he has not shown the traits to do so.
Fine, and that's why Bud is gone.
It's a lot to put on Giannis.
No, it isn't. It's the biggest issue is the owners made the decision. But a part of that people must accept is that Giannis chose not to let him accept it and allowed him to get fired and could have prevented it. That's a part of it. Can't be denied. Everybody loves Giannis, but for whatever his reason, Bud is gone because the owners decided it and Giannis was okay with it when he could have prevented it from occurring, right?
Sure. Well, that's fine. I'm good with that. Homer, who do you want as the next head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks?
I want Nick Nurse as the next head coach because he's from the same hometown as my wife, Carroll, Iowa, a town of 10,000. My father-in-law was the most famous athlete ever in that city until Nick Nurse shows up. So I can't wait if he's the coach to say, you don't know me, but I know you will like me. And Tony Smith and Pebble will laugh, and I'll go, nah, once I tell him I married Steve Garbier's daughter, oh, baby, he's going to love me.
So this
And so I have
this is who you want to handle the future of Giannis and the Milwaukee Bucks?
yes,
the person who's
yes.
going to like you most?
No, Eddie he did a great job with Toronto. He's got a
But no,
championship.
now we're going to put the qualifiers in here.
Well, no,
I like
mean,
the
he
first
has
answer.
the qualifiers, but others have the qualifiers too. But I just told you, yes, I have a personal agenda, but he has all the qualifiers to get it. What he did to get Toronto the championship surprised everyone, and when he had a great player, he won. As the great player left, he didn't do as well. But, if you're,
He also played the Wounded Warriors.
If you're going to get rid of a guy who has a ring, you might want to lean toward people that also have rings. I would prefer Phil Jackson. That would be my first choice, but I'm not sure how old and lost he is.
Well, he doesn't watch the NBA anymore, so I don't think that's happening.
He doesn't have to. He'll start watching it when he's.
I don't think he
coaching the team.
wants to be a part of the NBA anymore. Let's just leave
Okay,
it at
then
that.
that's fine. And I mean, Vogel also has a championship, so he would be.
So
an
do you
option.
think that you think that it is a qualifier where somebody has to have won a championship to be the coach? Do you think it's a qualifier that somebody's had to coach in the NBA as a head coach in order to be a coach? Like, what is your qualifier other than being from Carroll, Iowa, where
My qualifier is? I think you need to have experienced championships because you're not being given much time.
Yep.
And so there's no time. I mean, you really need to win a championship in the next 2 years. I mean, that's about what they've set up as the standard. It's not like, well, we're bringing this guy in, so now we're going to. No, we want another approach with a great player and a great team to get the championship. Otherwise, you don't get rid of them, right? I mean, there's like I said, you go back. This is amazing. You have to go back to the 1980s for a coach to be that good after winning a championship, having two great regular seasons. It was Bill Fitch, and he was fired by Red Auerbach because he had the gall to lose to the Milwaukee Bucks and be swept with Larry Bird's team in the Eastern Conference semifinals. So they fired his butt. Last time a coach has been this successful in 3 years with a championship, they brought in Casey Jones and won a title the next year.
Casey Jones, great
that's
coach.
what we're talking about. This guy didn't get it done with the team and star that he's got. Didn't win a championship.
It's hurting the series.
So why?
It's
How can you
unbelievable.
take a young coach and think, hey, we got some time? No, we don't got any time. If we had time, we wouldn't have gotten rid of the coach. We want something now, and so somebody has to have experienced what it takes to win a championship, because this is all about performance in the playoffs. Right or wrong, I mean, you can disagree with what they did.
No,
but
it
this
is all
because
about
they
the
want
playoffs.
better in the playoffs. Right. So you got to find somebody who's done it in the playoffs. You don't have time for a learning process.
Homer, I know this is going to be tough for you, but a yes or no for 3 straight questions here. Ready?
Yeah.
Jordan Love has a better season next year than Derek Carr, yes or no?
What's a better season? You can't. What's a better season?
I mean,
yards,
jeepers.
touchdowns,
I mean, just a better season. He has a better year than him.
No.
Baker Mayfield
But
at Tampa.
I don't like the question. I don't know what the hell better year is. What?
Baker
Next
Mayfield, Tampa Bay.
Oh, what? Better than Baker Mayfield? Yes, he'll have better than Baker Mayfield.
Justin Fields out of Chicago.
No. He
Yeah.
might have he might have more passing. I mean, again, you got to do better questions. But Fields will have a better season. But the majority of what he does is, I believe in the Bears. I've said they'll win a Super Bowl in 7 years because they got a good GM. The Bears, you need to worry about.
Thank you, Homer.
Thanks, Homer. We'll
All right,
talk
bye.
to you next week. Homer and Tony, weekdays 2 to 4, 94.5 ESPN Milwaukee. We'll hit some 100 next. Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
I don't like his questions.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
What are you saying, Ben? Have a thought. Put a thought in that head of yours.
Whoa,
Have
whoa.
a freaking thought.
Scalzo and Brust, available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
A couple of issues right now. First of all, on 94 westbound in Johnson Creek, we've got between Highway X and Highway 26. The left lane of the westbound side of 94 is blocked right now with a crash. Then we've also got a broken down vehicle on 894 southbound just before the Hale interchange. That's got the left lane blocked. So other than that, we're seeing your usual delays through the stadium. Westbound side slowing from 25th through the stadium. The eastbound slowing on and off the brakes from about 68th Street. Southbound 43 still going to be a bit heavy from Capitol Drive all the way down into the Marquette. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy. Another chance for showers or storms at night. A high of 64 at the lakefront, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Jordan Love has been extended.
This means Goody is a genius.
Are they ready for him to be the guy?
Jordan Love is just, you know what, man, I haven't proven it. I need to go out and prove this. And when I do, y'all are going to be paying me.
React to the news and get ready for the Love era in Green Bay right here.
The moment was not too big for him. You could see that.
On 94.5 ESPN and streaming live every day on WisconsinOnDemand.com, Twitter, and YouTube.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one. Baseball season is fully underway, which means we're talking to one of the best baseball-themed brews that's out there. Our guy, Tim Pauly from Broken Bat Brewery, is here to tell me all about the summer crushers that Broken Bat has in store for everyone to enjoy.
Cream Ale, the Ball and Glove is just super easy drinking beer, man. We came out with that specifically for summer patios, parking lots, after you cut the lawn. Nice, easy drinking, straight as an arrow cream ale. And then the Dunkelweiss and the dark wheat, we got a German brewer back there, Big Carl. So he's into his German beers, and he's super proud of it. Little weedy, got a little bit of a nutty kind of oaty taste to it. Super easy drinking, 5.5%.
Thanks again for Tim to telling us all about the Ball and Glove and the Stoinkers beer. Remember, baseball season's here, so get that fridge stocked.
Hi, this is John Neal, CPA and founder of the Neal Group, with over 40 years of experience saving businesses money. Another year has come and gone. How did yours go? Do you have more money in the bank than last January? Do you just have a job, or do you run a business? 85% of business owners just have a job. Our years of experience and proven strategies help you run your business profitably and get it ready to sell when you are ready. That's the end game, right? We help you look at the numbers and understand what they mean. Just ask Jason, Michelle, or Peter, who sold their businesses this year for a nice price. Do you want to get a decent salary, pay what you owe, and make a profit too? Let us help you improve your business so you can work less and make more. Sounds pretty good, right? To get started on the road to making more money and having less stress, book a call or meeting at nealgroup.net right now. That's NEAL group.net. The first meeting is free to see if we can help. Again, neilgroup.net.
Life is supposed to be fun. With Best Burger Awards in the trophy case, peanuts raining from the ceiling, and boozy custard shakes, AJ Bombers is just plain fun. Located on Water Street in downtown Milwaukee, AJ Bombers is the perfect place for pregame grub. Prefer to watch the game from a bar stool? Enjoy great views from multiple flat-screen TVs while you cheer on Milwaukee's home teams with a smash-style burger and fried cheese curds. Visit AJ Bombers on Water Street or check out ajbombers.com.
It's officially the love era.
From the day we drafted him to see him now, just to see how he's matured.
Jordan Love has been extended.
The most glowing thing that's been said is he's matured in every facet of life.
Does Love actually always persevere?
It's a lot of money for a guy who hasn't, played.
Find out with us.
At the same time, obviously, we're moving forward with him.
On 94.5 ESPN and streaming live every day on WisconsinOnDemand.com, Twitter, and YouTube. It's Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra, official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
I'm lost in the way you move, the way you feel. One kiss is all it takes. Falling in love with me. Possibilities, I look like all you need. One kiss is all it takes. Falling in love with me. Possibilities, I look like all you need.
Friday on Scalzo and Brust across ESPN Wisconsin.
That wasn't 110% there.
No, I'm also trying to finish a whole fruit by the foot.
I was going to say fruit roll-up, but isn't it the same thing?
No, fruit roll-ups are like the rectangle ones, and then they would have like the punch-out shapes you could do. They come in like more of a tube form. The fruit by the foot is the one that and they've kind of got the
really
plastic
long
film.
with the plastic? Is that what you had?
No, this is the fruit by the foot. This is where like you roll it out.
Yeah, I like that.
The fruit roll-ups.
We're talking like we're at each other's house in 6th grade asking the mom for a snack.
I mean, I like Gushers too. Gushers are a primo snack.
What if I told you I've never had Gushers?
I feel like you've missed out significantly. And I think you'd love Gushers.
Do we have any Gushers up there for next break?
I don't know.
You pounded them all down?
I never had the Gushers.
What?
Somebody else had Gushers in their snack drawer. Next trip to Costco, I'll grab some Gushers.
Big Costco member now, I heard.
Yeah.
Can you grab me extra wipes?
Chris, let's get to some 1 or zeros.
Are you a 1 or a 0?
Use the same ones as my daughter?
That's the question you have to ask yourself. Are you a yes or a no?
There's no such thing as a gray area. Life is binary. It's just a 1 or a 0.
Take that back. Now that I don't flush them because I heard it's bad for the sewer system.
I don't want to think about you not flushing your
I was just saying
poop pipes.
flushable or non-flushable will work.
He's Ben Brust. I'm Greg Scalzo. We're your contestants for 1 or 0. No Joshie DiMaggio today. Chris Larson, your cousin sub of the day. He is your host. He asked us a question. We said 1 for yes, 0 for no. There is no gray area. Chrissy, take it away.
All right, 1 or 0. Uber has released their 7th annual Lost and Found Index, providing insight into what exactly riders are leaving behind in their Uber rides. The top 5 include clothing, phones, backpacks and purses, wallets, and headphones. The most unusual include a toy poodle, Danny DeVito's Christmas ornament, ankle monitor, fog machine, and 16 ounces of fake blood. The most forgetful cities include Jacksonville, San Antonio, Palm Springs, Houston, and Salt Lake City. 1 or 0. You yourself have forgotten something in an Uber before.
1. I've definitely forgotten something in an Uber, contacted them, and even I think there was one time I was able to figure out the face to Facebook and message them on Facebook and got something back that I left.
What?
Yeah, I got
You looked up the driver on Facebook? And then messaged them?
Yeah, because they weren't the phone number that's provided on Uber is kind of like that fake number. So they're not incentivized if they're not picking me up to probably answer that. So I wanted to make sure I secured my wallet.
I left a pair of sunglasses in Uber once.
You don't get those back.
Nope.
All right, moving on. Number 2, in the heat of the QMJAL playoff game, Halifax Mooseheads forward and Nashville Predators prospect Zachary Lahu was seen taking a big swig of mustard right on the bench from a from a bottle of mustard. He's been since crowned the Mustard Tiger. He says he uses it during games to avoid cramps. 1 or 0 mustard is the worst of the condiments.
I'm a 0 here.
I think we're going to be in agreement here.
Mayonnaise?
Mayo's the worst.
Yeah, mayonnaise is the worst.
The texture's bad. The taste isn't great.
I could get into a nice grain mustard. Like a nice...
Grain mustard?
Yeah.
I like...
Chris, you know what I'm talking about.
Like an Old Stone type mustard.
Yeah.
Yep.
Where you could actually see the actual...
mustard seed?
Yeah. Yeah, like that's... I can get into that. If it's like the yellow French's, like...
I can do yellow. I can do honey mustard. I can do
honey mustard.
I can do Dijon.
A brown mustard.
I can do brown.
Yeah, but I like the grain mustard. I like when
do
I can...
you eat the seed?
What do you mean?
I don't know, this grain mustard. I don't know.
You've definitely had this before, Ben. You're acting like this is a foreign concept. When we order a big pretzels, they have that grainy mustard.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm a big mustard guy. Not good if you get on your shirts, though. Tough to get out.
How does it help prevent cramps?
I don't know. That's what he said. He uses it for to help prevent cramps. So you see him. He's taking.
Is it potassium that you're looking for? Does mustard have potassium?
It might. Teddy from Watertown texts in accidentally, says, heading out now. We'll be home around 5:10. Good luck, Teddy.
Thanks for the update. 7 milligrams of potassium in 1 packet of mustard.
I guess, yeah, he's been taking some mustard packets, too, I believe, from the story I was reading about it. So would you guys take that over Gatorade or water on the bench?
Absolutely not.
It's disgusting.
It has a lot of minerals, good for health, like potassium, phosphorus. Is that right? Calcium and magnesium.
Phosphorus?
There it is.
The ketchup and mustard packets that you get in like to-go orders are biggest waste.
I'm so anti.
There's the biggest waste.
There is a great place that I go to very close to my place in Whitefish Bay, known for their custard and great burgers. Anytime I order the onion rings, do you want ketchup packets with that?
No.
How about no? Like, it's a disaster. Like,
give you 50 of them, and
if I do, like, what am I supposed to do with 2 mustard or ketchup packets? Open them up, squeeze them out, and then like.
Well, then you throw them away, but then you're like, man, I feel bad. I'm throwing these away. It's like,
they're such a waste of space.
Such a waste.
And even the dip and squeeze ones, get some bigger ones, please. How am I supposed to dip in something that like it's one dip and it's gone? I'm an overuser of condiments, though, if I'm being honest.
You're a big-time overuser of condiments. It's disgusting.
It's part of my tummy issues.
A lot of tummy issues for Benny.
All right, moving on here. 1-0. A rare 2,800-year-old mummified ancient Egyptian head has been kept in a cupboard in Great Britain since World War I. Is being sold at auction. The head can be yours for just $26,000. 1-0. A mummified head is a good conversation piece to keep in your house.
1. I don't see what's bizarre about this at all.
I'm a 1 here as well. I mean,
it's an artifact. Historical.
Any type of artifact. I mean, what was it? You and I were staying in Augusta for the Masters, and we were in some house with all this rich history of like presidents of Notre Dame or something, and like you got stuck in that room at like 5 a.m. in the morning because I had you sleeping on the couch.
You didn't have me sleeping on the couch.
I had to say it like that to sound cool.
But
am I wrong? Did you wander around and look at the artifacts?
Absolutely. I took in all the history there. Well, Ben Brust was asleep at 9 p.m. That's my lash out back at you.
Touche.
That's right. And I was walking around, and of course. And then there was no mummified heads, but anything it could be a good talking piece. I appreciate that. Mummified head, fantastic.
I see one more here. Twitter creator Jack Dorsey has released the beta version of his new Twitter-influenced app called Blue Sky to much applause from angry Twitter users. 1-0, Twitter will be as popular as it is now in 5 years.
I mean, 0. I don't think Twitter's as popular as it was the last 5 years, right? Like
it's definitely more popular, I think.
Seriously? There's just more bots.
I have no idea.
I have no idea either. I just thought Instagram and like Snapchat were taking market share away from.
Let me ask you: has your screen time increased the last 5 years?
I would say from a Twitter standpoint, like for people I follow, I'd like to think it's helping feed the information.
You're just thinking about yourself and your own uses, but the fact that more and more time has been spent on within apps in general means that it's not you're not trading minutes necessarily. You're adding them. I'm sure we could find out if Twitter is. I don't even know how to do it. I could care less. I really don't know if people are going to use Twitter more or less. I hope that it gets used less. Like if it wasn't for my job, I wouldn't even be on Twitter. I would.
Well, then let me ask you
It's a horrible
this.
place.
I feel like you
It's a
would be
miserable place.
like a website guy. Like I feel like you'd be on
Website
the
guy.
internet with like bookmarks of different websites that you would
I
go
have my
to.
websites I go to every day anyway, but I do start with Twitter as sort of my curated news source, and then I actually read the articles there, unlike some people, Ben.
Why are we lashing out twice in one
That wasn't
segment
a
on
lash
Friday?
out. That was just a mere how you use Twitter versus how others use Twitter.
If
You
we're being
don't
honest,
you don't click into the
Old
articles.
T, Mark Tauscher famously is a clickbait guy. Like falls for the trap and doesn't read the articles. I'm just trying to not feel so alone here. Chris, do you click on stuff on Twitter, read the articles?
No, I do not.
Yeah, nobody does.
But you should. Everybody should.
Everyone clicks on the Scalzo and Brust podcast link, but that gets them to the audio so they can listen to the beautiful genius work that we put on these airwaves every single day.
God, I hope. Hillsy chimes in and says Ben would poop his pants if he saw a mummified head. Ben might poop his pants even without seeing a mummified head, the way that tummy's been lately.
Third lash out.
That's not a lash out. That's a joke. When have you ever ran from a tummy joke?
That's true.
Yeah.
It's just too close to home right now, you know? The tummy jokes sometimes go better when I'm not in the middle of a tummy phase.
Okay, that's fair. 800-990-ESPN. Thank you, Chris. 800-990-3776. Chris in Sheboygan says I have to roll Ben a Gusher blunt. I don't know what that is. If I had to guess, I would take a fruit roll up and roll Gushers into it, but I don't know if that's what he's talking about right there.
I wonder. Text a picture.
Steph in Canada, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra, the official and unofficial Canadian of the Scalzo and Brust family. What's going on, Steph?
I like his voice for a Friday. Steph, make me feel good.
Hey guys, happy Friday. Yeah, you can make fun of my accent. That's fine. I get it.
Steph, I love it. We're from the Midwest, or have lived here long enough. We have non-regional diction. We're boring. Our voices are boring. You have some character.
No, Wisconsinites have distinct accents, so we can just make fun of each other. It's fine. And I'm Italian Canadian, so I have this weird mix. So it's all good.
It's incredible.
Anyways, I just wanted to talk about Nick Nurse real quick because I've been a Raptors fan my whole life. He's fantastic. The players love the guy. He's laid back, but he gets stuff done. And he's personable and fun with the media, so I think if the Bucks hire him, the fans are going to love him and, latch on to him. He's an NBA champion. I don't want to hear anything about an asterisk there, please. And
Wounded Warriors.
He has a fun, Wounded Warriors. And he has a fun, successful scheme that, honestly, the ball always seems to be moving around, and it's nothing boring. So I think Giannis, combined with, they have a connection with Masai Ujiri, the Raptors president, so I think they'll be able to click on many aspects there, so I think he's a proud candidate for the Bucks. Have a great weekend. Thanks.
You have a great weekend too, Steph.
you for the
Appreciate
call.
it, my man. I think it's interesting perspective.
You know what I got out of that? I don't care if the fans love him. All that matters if Nick Nurse is hired is if he wins a freaking championship.
No, I know, but right now, the Bucks need to hire a coach.
I know,
and I know that you might be like, hey, nobody's going to be better than Bud, although I think you're putting Nurse on the Bud level.
Yeah, same level.
But, it's interesting to hear because fans, to me, tend to be the most critical of their coaches, especially think about what we've seen, especially on the north side, in terms of how they look at Coach Bud. And Steph in Canada is like, yeah, Nick Nurse did a good job. And I think Toronto in general is probably easier on Nurse because he went from having Kawhi and winning it all to not having Kawhi and at least battling to keep them a relevant team in the NBA without a roster that should have been.
Fred VanVleet.
Yes, Fred VanVleet.
And actually, if we're going to talk about who really lost that series, it wasn't Bud. It was the inability to stop Fred VanVleet. But now we have Drew Holiday. But that didn't work out for Jimmy Butler either.
Going back in time to look at that Toronto Raptors roster is going to be really interesting.
Should we do it?
We'll do it next. And Ron in the Key has an interesting question. Says, Greg, if you were in the same spot that Giannis was in, would you save Ben from getting fired? I'll answer that next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
It's Friday. Just remember that.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
Yes, I do have vodka breath right now, but she asked me to bring her a G&T to the pool, and she wants to see me shirtless walking around the pool, and she's looking forward to tonight.
You're so full of crap.
Yeah, JP, what a
Shut up,
stud.
Greg.
What do you mean?
He's not a stud. She doesn't want to see him with his shirt off. I've seen him with his shirt off.
Scalzo and Brust, available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
The only thing that tops our selection is your savings discount liquor.
Take me out to the ball game, roll out the barrel, and get up, get out of here, gone! There's nothing like Milwaukee baseball. The Brew Crew is back, and we're here to help you turn your tailgate or game viewing experience into a grand slam. Hi, this is Marie from Discount Liquor, where since 1960 we have provided the best selection and the lowest prices. We stock literally thousands of varieties of beer, liquor, wine, and mixers. Over 15,000 actually, but who's counting? The point is, you want it, odds are we have it. Combine our incredible selection and everyday low prices with our 2 convenient locations, and you've got your one-stop shop for game day. Discount Liquor in Milwaukee on 51st in Oklahoma, only 10 minutes from AmFam Field, and in downtown Waukesha on Barstow and Maine.
Discount liquor.
At least twice as big
as the one you gave her when you got engaged.
That's the definition of a big anniversary diamond.
Kessler's has lots of ways for you to go twice as big.
We have twice as big diamonds from diamond mines.
These diamonds come from the fiery heart of Mother Earth. And the ones that exist in the world today are all there will ever be.
Kessler's also has twice as big created diamonds.
These diamonds come from the fiery heart of a ball of lightning, a miniature star, inside a plasma chamber. It's a wonder to behold.
Kessler's also has twice as big flickering firelight diamonds.
These natural diamonds flicker with all the warm colors of firelight instead of the cold colors of ice. Flickering firelight diamonds are another wonder to behold.
And all of these twice as big diamonds are for her.
The best wonder to behold of all. Welcome to Kessler's.
To find the Kessler's nearest you, go to KesslersDiamonds.com.
Life's more rewarding at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, especially when it comes to gardening. Right now, get unbeatable deals on supplies to support your backyard bounty. Like $5 off assorted Dan & Jerry's flowering patio planters, 36-pound bags of KT All-American Wild Bird Food, just $19.99. Shop our selection of live flowers and plants in our outdoor garden center, now open at most locations. Plus, this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., come test drive select riding mowers and lawn tractors during Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Ride and Drive event.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Gabe Neitzel here this week on the tee. Stephen Watson and I are going to discuss the latest elevated event on the PGA Tour. Plus, I think, finally, maybe, we're getting good enough golf weather that we can get outside, play some golf, and talk about that. It's all coming up Monday at 6 o'clock on the tee, 94.5 ESPN and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
On the Tee with Gabe and Steven, Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Thought I had you on hold. I thought I had you on hold.
Presented by Michelob Ultra on a Friday. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, no Josh DiMaggio. Chris Larson running the show, your cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs, we believe in better. Coach Bud out as the Milwaukee Bucks head coach. Who do you want in? We talked a little Nick Nurse. We ran through that Toronto Raptors roster back in 2019. It's not as bad as we thought. Kyle Lowry, good player. He was an all-star at that point.
Danny Green, Kawhi Leonard, Pascal Siakam, Marcus Gasol, Fred VanVleet, Serge Ibaka.
Like, that was solid.
It's a solid team.
And the way Kawhi was playing, it was enough to get it done. Now, Harana the Key asked, based off of Homer's assertion, that Giannis might not have forced the firing of Coach Bud, but he could have prevented it and chose not to. Harana the Key said, Greg, would you save Ben from getting fired?
In this scenario, are you Giannis, I'm Bud, and then the CEO is like Horst in the ownership?
It was basically be somebody asking me, hey, we're thinking of firing Ben. We're going to do it unless you say otherwise. What would I do? And if it was, obviously there's certain situations where maybe it would have to occur. That wasn't the case with Coach Bud, right? We're just talking about, of course I would save Benny. Of course I would save Benny. Benny's my guy.
I know, but what would be the reasons you'd be like, I could finally get rid of him?
Well, I'm saying if there was like an ethical or like an issue, you know what I mean? Like Coach Bud didn't do anything majorly where it's like, man, he's got to go. Coach Bud lost a playoff game. It was a performance based off of a great year where he ended up having some playoff failures, and I think it was one too many playoff
because
failures.
You went 9 for 22 in a freaking playoff game, I'm going to be pissed at you.
I don't know how. You know what? No, I wouldn't stop Ben from getting fired. He clearly doesn't know what I'm saying right now, and I'm sticking up for him as he's attacking me. Let's go to Joe in Madison. Joe, welcome to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra. Coach Bud out. Who do you want in, or what else you got? We're presented by Michelob Ultra.
A damn free throw, and this wouldn't happen.
Hey guys, thanks for taking my call. But my thing is, like, really, Nick Nurse has the same amount of championships as Coach Bud. I mean, his teams, other than the year when he had Kawhi Leonard, have not really done that well in the playoffs. I mean, besides, I believe in the bubble, they made it to the Eastern Conference semifinals.
But
you're going to have to fact check me on that.
Joe, I do need to
better?
ask. Yeah, I mean that's the thing is you're saying he's only won one. Like who else is out there that's won more than one that you're saying the Bucks should hire?
We're in total agreement there. Like to me, I've been saying like Nick Nurse isn't a step up.
But Bud is out, so now it's like you have to hire a coach. Like who, if it's not Nurse for you, Joe, who would you want?
I wish they didn't fire him, but I get why they fired him. It was because they played like you-know-what in the playoffs. And the thing is, they were a great regular season team, but I think another reason why he was fired was they've always been good in the regular season and out-of-timeout plays, and you saw a lot of things against the Heat this year where they were turning the ball over, taking contested threes by Wesley Matthews with 5 seconds on the shot clock. Like those are things that were not characteristics of Mike Budenholzer that all of a sudden showed up in the playoffs.
Thank you for the call, Joe. I think you're in the process of trying to figure out who's next and you don't know, and that's okay because I'm kind of with you. Like, again, they're going to have to choose a head coach. My entire argument is find me a head coach that gets you more excited than Coach Bud. Nick Nurse, to me, is net neutral, right? Like, we're running back with a coach who won a title. Sure, Steph from Canada, our official and official Canadian, says he'll connect with the fans. That's great. But he's not that much more exciting than Coach Bud.
John in the 414 says Nick Nurse wanted to spend more time with his family. Of course he did, because he didn't have a team that could win a championship. If a team that could win a championship, that's a little bit different than...
hey, family, I got more money coming for you. Hang on. Let me go the deep playoff run.
Our guy, Ted A. from Washington, he's going to be home in about 8 minutes.
Oh, it's Watertown.
What'd I say?
Washington?
Watertown. It's Friday. It says, let's go get Shaka milkshakes for everyone.
Hey, by the way, Ted A., stream Wisconsin On Demand, ESPN app.
Teddy says, would Benny support Bo Ryan for the next Bucks head coach?
No. I love Bo, but I don't think he wants to do that either. So I would have to support somebody who's happily retired playing more golf than he can ever imagine.
414 says Darvin Ham. The guy knows all the players, and you can't argue that he won more playoff series than Bud did this year. Ham, the current coach of the Los Angeles Lakers.
If you hire Darvin Ham, you're basically picking somebody that Coach Budenholzer brought under his wing and taught him everything he knows. You're basically hiring Bud again in a different form. I know they're different people, different characteristics. My entire point would be, if you're hiring someone under the specific coaching tree of Coach Bud, why get rid of Bud?
800-990 ESPN. They did get rid of Bud, whether you're a fan of that or not. 800-990-3776. Who do you want next? Back in 2 minutes. Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
We do still have an accident in the Johnson Creek area. Westbound 94 is got the left lane blocked between Highway X and Highway 26. So heads up with that. It's going to be really slow through that area. We also have a broken down vehicle on 894 southbound just before the Hale interchange. That's got the left lane blocked, and everything is backed up all the way back to the Zoo interchange. Going to be a hefty ride there from the Zoo to the Hale, 18 minutes. Southbound 43 is getting a little bit better. Still a little heavy from Hampton to Capitol, and then from Keith down through the Marquette, but then after that, you're okay. And checking the TMJ4 Storm King forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, a chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy, another chance of showers and storms at night, a high of 64 at the lakefront, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Explore Milwaukee's iconic Harley-Davidson Museum this spring. The Harley-Davidson Museum campus boasts one-of-a-kind shopping with exclusive Harley gear from 2 new retail stores, an interactive experience gallery, and the Motor Bar and Restaurant. Riverfront dining with daily specials like fish fries and barbecue. And make it a point to ride over on May 4th for Bike Night, where you can stock up with up to 70% off on deals from their factory shop. The Harley-Davidson Museum, 15 years as one of Milwaukee's top tourist destinations.
Hey, this is Gabe Neitzel. You're listening to 94.5 ESPN, WKTI and WKTI HD, Milwaukee.
A locally owned Good Karma brand station.
For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust. For your sports talk fix every day from 4 to 6, it's Scalzo and Brust.
Live from the Gruber Law Office's One Call That's All studios at the Avenue.
Party, baby.
This is Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra on 94.5 ESPN and Wisconsin On Demand.
It's a party, baby. Woo! It's a party, baby.
Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo, Chris Larson in for Joshua DiMaggio, your cousin sub of the day. Cousin subs we believe in better.
And also, Michelob Ultra, it's only worth it if you enjoy it. And I enjoy it.
I enjoy it as well. Shout out to our friends at Michelob Ultra. We're asking you, in the wake of the Coach Bud dismissal, who do you want as the next head coach of the Milwaukee Bucks? 920 chimes in, says Ty Lue. TJ from the road says what happened this year in the playoffs is the come to Jesus moment for the Bucks. They need a coach, and it's going to be creative with the tools that he has or she has, and has the ability to keep the players focused. I think that's all like it's a good word salad right there. I mean, again, Bud did it before, and he's out. So I want to stop looking back at that.
Yeah.
I want to start looking forward to what's next.
Maybe this hour it's no more Coach Bud.
Ben from Madison says Nick Nurse looked better than he was because of the Raptors scouting department. Sure, but like He had a championship level roster, but he won a championship. And that the Bucks have a championship level roster. You want a coach that can win a championship with a championship level roster. You've seen Nick Nurse do that in the NBA. You've seen Ty Lue do that in the NBA. You've seen Becky Hammon do that in the WNBA. Those seem to be the three names that are being tossed around the most. Doesn't mean that those are the three top candidates on the Bucks list.
Again,
262 wants Sam Cassell.
What I'm trying to think of is, I remember we were playing this game with the Wisconsin Badgers football team when Paul Chryst was hired. Nobody had Luke Fickell like on the radar, right? It was all like everyone was like looking. College is obviously a little different from pro perspective. It was trying to find connections to the Wisconsin area. Is there somebody that's up and coming, that's had success, maybe as a head coach looking to make that jump? But again, I go back to, is that good enough for an organization that just won a championship?
They're in full win now mode.
Exactly.
There's no time for a coach to get his growing pains in.
Like in for instance, the same way in which I think the Packers missed out when Matt LaFleur was a second-year head coach against the Buccaneers, and he did not go for it on 4th and goal with the ball down 7. He kicked a field goal. That's something the Bucks can't have happen.
That was even his second year, not even his first year.
No, that's what I'm saying. That was his second year. So I'm saying, like, there's no time for learning how to coach in pressure situations. And that's why even when I try and think, like, who's the up-and-comer? Forget that. You got to have the resume. You got to have the championship. You got to have something where you come in and Giannis looks at you and goes, oh, yeah, we're going to get it done. Because he had a coach that he could look in the eye, even if it went wrong or not this last series, and say, you know what, we won a championship together. There's got to be that if you're going to continue to build a championship organization.
Texan and Racine says if Phil Jackson wasn't old as dirt and didn't hate the NBA these days, and if the Greek dude could shoot 40% for, jumpers, that would be a perfect fit. I think I just defeated my own argument.
Love Texan and Racine. Definitely lifted a little too many weights today.
What do you mean?
It was good. It was good self-call out by him.
Angie in the minivan says Doc Rivers, just tuning in. Go get him. Doc Rivers currently coaching for the 76ers in the midst of a really the de facto Eastern Conference championship against Boston.
That is true. Again, why Doc has the MVP in Joel Embiid in Philly. You know what I mean? Like
you'd have an MVP caliber player in Giannis.
I totally get that. But why leave one that you probably have a relationship with to that just seems like bad practice.
800-990-3776. Again, 800-990-ESPN. I want to turn the page to Jordan Love. You had a couple of questions earlier that you asked Homer, which he said were bad questions. But I know they're burning up inside of you right now, and you need to get them out.
Well, again, sure, Homer, it wasn't as specific enough. I asked Homer, yes or no, because he's very long-winded, and that old man needed a nap, clearly. He got a little grumpy at the end of our segment.
I don't think that's appropriate. Chris Larson, do you think that's appropriate?
Well, he does nap during breaks, and he naps.
What do you mean he naps during breaks?
You can see him nodding off when we're in break.
He sleeps during the show?
Yes, he has the previous.
Well, that's technically not during the
Is
show. Is it during the show if it's during break?
Yes, it's during the show.
It's not an all-the-time thing, but I have taken.
Do you wake him up?
I have woken him up in the past.
No,
yeah.
but like when you see him sleeping right away, or do you like, all right, I'll give him 2 minutes.
Well, Tony's usually in there with him, so then he's usually good about getting him up and at him, ready for the next segment. So.
So as I stated, he's a little grumpy, sometimes needs a nap.
He says he can nap anywhere, so.
Point proven. I asked, yes or no, Jordan Love will have a better season than Derek Carr, Justin Fields, and Baker Mayfield. That is under the premise.
Now, why did you pick those three?
That is under the premise that the 6 quarterbacks, first off, we're staying just NFC, because that is the division that the Packers are in. That is ultimately how we're going to be seeing success for the Green Bay Packers and how they do in the NFC. The AFC is heavier with the better quarterbacks. Kirk Cousins, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, and Daniel Jones are the 6 quarterbacks that I put ahead of Jordan Love. From a contract standpoint, from a performance standpoint, sure, if you want to argue bits and pieces with me there, we can do that. But that's not the overall point. We're trying to see where Jordan Love fits into the NFC landscape in terms of I know we haven't seen him, but do you think he can have a better year than Baker Mayfield, who's going to be at Tampa Bay, or Justin Fields, who has 2 more years of experience of playing time, but was ultimately, 3-14 last year? What about a Derek Carr, who got let go from Vegas and now is with New Orleans, and they moved on from Andy Dalton, right? Like, can Jordan Love be in the conversation of those guys? Or
so
even
where
be better?
will Jordan Love fall in that NFC quarterback hierarchy? You've got 6 given ahead of him that you're just saying you don't even think is debatable, and those 6 are?
Cousins, Geno Smith, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Danny Jones.
Wow, Cousins and Goff and Danny Dimes.
Look, let's be honest. Cousins is a good quarterback. I'm not saying he's great, but we know he's a good quarterback.
And now you're asking Carr,
Baker Mayfield, and Justin Fields.
Baker and Justin Fields.
And I think that's
I'm going to go ahead and say Carr will have a better year this year than Jordan Love. Fields will have a better year this year than Jordan Love. Baker won't.
That means you're putting Jordan Love the 9th best quarterback in the NFC.
I'm saying he's going to have the 9th best year in the NFC. And maybe I'm wrong on that, right? I mean, heck, yesterday I said that he'd be top 10 in certain in certain statistical categories, and I still think that could be true. I don't think it matters necessarily, and it is kind of tough to say, well, what is better than, what is whatever. I think that as long as you see what he can become in future years, I don't really care what it is. Like, in my mind, the best situation for this Packers team is to basically be what the Bears were last year, which is have the team stink, but at least you feel like you found your franchise quarterback. Now, I don't think Justin Fields is a franchise quarterback. I don't think he's going to be a successful franchise quarterback that's ultimately going to lead the Bears to even appearing in a Super Bowl, let alone winning a Super Bowl. The Bears disagree. And if you're building a team, the best thing you can do is feel like you found your franchise quarterback. I could be totally wrong on Justin Fields. We're all going to have differing opinions. But the best situation for me for the Packers is to get as good of a draft pick as possible while knowing that you've got a dog, the guy, whatever you want to say, in your quarterback in Jordan Love, because you ain't winning stuff this year. You really got to hope 2024, 2025, and moving forward is when you can ultimately bounce back and become a championship caliber team.
Can I throw? I'm a big scenarios guy right now.
Big scenarios.
3-14 or 8-9 with Jordan Love next year. Which do you prefer?
Say it again.
3-14 or 8-9.
3-14, absolutely.
But there is something to a 4th-year guy in the NFL building.
Hey, you're saying though, if he has the same season. Or no, you're not, because that's the whole thing. Is like if 3-14 means Love's not the guy, and 8-9 means he is the guy. I'd rather have 8-9 and Jordan Love's the guy.
That's what
Jordan Love's by far.
He's the guy no matter what. From 3-14 or 8-9.
Then I would rather be 3-14. Like, if again, the most important thing in 2023 is Jordan Love being your guy. The most important part of team building in the NFL is to have your quarterback for the future. Look at the 49ers. They've gotten everything else right for the last, 6-7 years? They still haven't been able to find their quarterback, and they still haven't won a championship.
You know what's fascinating to me is the Jordan Love experiment that we're going through right now. We saw the contract extension. We went through the incentives. We know the guarantees. What if he happens to be really good and you missed out on the window of having a young quarterback with a lower salary cap, and next thing you know, he plays so well that he demands such a big contract?
Doesn't matter. You have a quarterback.
I know it's a net win, but you drafted a guy and missed out an opportunity to build around him while you didn't end up winning a Super Bowl.
Well, they'd still have, probably demand a new contract in 2024. But, I think you're happy to pay your quarterback if he is that guy. And you saw it, right? The Giants are in a precarious situation with Daniel Jones. They said, go out and prove it. He had a solid year with no weapons whatsoever. They guaranteed him $80 million. Would you say he's better than Kirk Cousins? No.
Probably not.
Would you say he's better than Jared Goff? No.
Equal to or not.
So, they still had to go out and pay him. But that's not a guy you look at and say, oh, this is our franchise quarterback. And they still felt obligated to pay him, and that puts the Giants in a really difficult spot. Now, they're hoping Brian Daboll's so good he can continue to develop Daniel Jones into a franchise guy. But if you can count on Jordan Love being a franchise guy you believe in, you believe to build around, that's the most important thing. If you have that, stink. I don't care. Lose close games. Get a high pick so you can bring in more talent. Bring in a top 5 guy. Bring in a top 10 guy. I think that to me is still more important. That's the phase that the Packers are in right now. David Bakhtiari said it. They're rebuilding. David Bakhtiari said it. They're rebuilding. Matt LaFleur said it. Measure your expectations. They're in that phase right now. What helps that phase more? Going 8-9 and missing the playoffs and picking 14, or going 3-14 and picking the top 5 and going out and grabbing a stud tackle who you could put at the cornerstone of your offensive line for the next 10 years, or a Marvin Harrison Jr. is a top wide receiver prospect over the last decade.
Yeah. I posed the question. I'm firmly on 3-14 there, because I don't think building an 8-9 season with Jordan Love, with what's likely still going to be more change coming to the team, like what's Aaron Jones' future, like there's going to be pieces that are growing together and moving together, and if you can continue to pick up good assets that are young, that grow together, I think that's more important than missing the playoffs and learning to win next year with Jordan Love. I actually kind of equate this to similarly like what the Badger basketball team went through last year, right? Like, they lost a crap ton of close games, but Coach Gard believed in the core that they had, that he essentially brought everyone back, has a couple freshmen coming in and a transfer. That's a win-win, as long as they learn to win, right? If the Packers are 3-14, right, and they find their core in Jordan Love and some of these receivers and tight ends, and then end up getting a good draft pick, which is equivalent to bringing in recruits that you like, that is most likely the best scenario for the Green Bay Packers. Now, it will be fascinating from a fan's perspective how fans will look at 3-14, because that is something.
If Jordan Love is the guy, fans will see it. Packers fans are smart enough. They'll be upset that they lose, but ultimately, if you see enough in Jordan Love, and then in 2024, once you get even more talent on the roster, you can be better and probably make the playoffs, right? In 24, get a playoff loss, kind of learn how to do it in the playoffs, and then 25 is the year where all of a sudden you're like, oh, we're in a window again. They're not in a window right now. They're on the outside of a window right now. They need to get into a window. Speaking of windows, Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. I didn't even know I did that. What a remarkable move by me.
Or what a remarkable
You did nothing on that.
Whoa,
nothing.
We have video evidence. I pointed to you.
That means nothing. Gina Della from Pella Windows. See, now you ruined the transfer anyway. Now you ruined it anyway. Ben Brust has his Pella Windows and Doors socks on. Your outfit is impeccable today. No belt while he tucked in his Brewers Hawaiian shirt.
I feel like Andy Reid.
With a long sleeve quarter zip underneath, although you did skip out on work in the middle of the day to play pickleball and you sweat through your shirt, which is why you're covering it up. That's what I heard.
Rumors are true.
And you've got no belt on. You've got the beautiful Pella Windows socks that brings it all together. Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin. Don't go anywhere else if you need to replace your windows and doors. Gina Della does it better than anybody else. Trust me, she's done it for me. She'll do it for you. You're experiencing different climates throughout your house right now, right? The wild temperature swings are probably leading to wild mood swings, especially when you get your bill. So call Gina Della at Pella today. Say goodbye to a drafty house with stunning new windows and doors. Order today and get 0% interest for 4 years. That's 0% interest for 48 months. But you got to hurry, because that offer's only good through May 31st. Visit their beautiful showroom in Brookfield or on the Beltline in Madison, or online, PellaWI.com/radio, PellaWI.com/radio. We'll go pole dancing next. It's Scalzo and Brust.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
Andrea, your best guess for how long Jonathan Brust, a father of 6, who's been with his wife for 16 years, made love with his wonderful wife last night.
Scalzo and Brust.
Dad, welcome to Scalzo and Brust. Do you have a guess for us for how long Jonathan Brust made love with his wife last night?
Yes, I do. I'd like to take a poke at
Scalzo and Brust. Available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
We still got some pretty extensive delays westbound 94, all because of an accident that happened near Johnson Creek. It's technically on 94 westbound between Highway X and Highway 26. The left lane is blocked, so it's really big delays around that area. If you can avoid it, that would probably save you some time. Southbound on 894, backing up from Greenfield all the way down to the Hale interchange, where you'll find a broken down vehicle blocking the left lane there on southbound 894. Eastbound on 94, backing up a bit from the 84th Street area through the Stadium interchange. The westbound side's actually looking pretty good. Maybe a quick tap of the brakes coming out of the Stadium interchange. Checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, a chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy. Another chance of showers or storms at night, a high of 64 at the lake, 72 inland. Weather is brought to you by National Liquor Mart at 16th and National in Milwaukee. Packed with the best beer, liquor, and seltzer and spirit deals in town. Open 9 a.m. to 9 p.m. daily, where your satisfaction is their plan of action. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Even when you think you know what's going on.
Although if the beer has head, you have to wait, you stick your finger in a little slime from your nose and whatnot. But
you can never be too sure.
Why is he leaving again?
Well, because
Packers, nonsense, chaos.
Stop the thing and get it like hard. It's just
so you know, Ashton almost made it back into the production office.
Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, mornings 7 to 9 on 94.5 ESPN and available wherever you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Hey, this is Gary Ellison for my good friends at the Jewelry Center. It's the only place I go when I'm looking to get some new jewelry. Dean and his team are always friendly and know just what I'm searching for when I stop by. I may not always know what type of jewelry I want, but the professionals there sure do. Plus, if I need repairs on watches or other jewelry, the Jewelry Center does that too. Find the Jewelry Center in Burlington, Brookfield, and Greenfield, or shop their entire collection online, including their popular Lightbox lab-grown diamonds at shoptjc.com.
Jeff Levering and wife Ashley love their new patio door from Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin.
It's like having a brand new kitchen. It's so bright, it's so clear. I can see the kids outside playing.
I love the roll screen. The fact that the screen is on the inside, no drafts. It's a game changer.
Get 0% interest for up to 48 months at Pella Windows and Doors of Wisconsin and have everything installed in as little as a day. Visit PellaWI.com.
Certain restrictions apply. Offer ends 5/31/2023.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, they're still family-owned. They're still proud to call Milwaukee home. And they're still committed to making the best frozen pizza possible. From their new and improved rising crust pizzas to their guilt-free Primo thin pies, Palermo's has a delicious slice for every appetite. Find Palermo's in your local grocer's freezer food aisle. Palermo's. Flavor is our family's business.
Life's better with an auto policy from American Family Insurance. No matter what dreams you're driving towards. That's because our expert agents will make you feel totally protected with the right auto coverage at the right price. You'll also save up to 23% when you bundle auto with home. American Family Insurance. Get a quote, find an agent at amfam.com.
Products not available in every state. Visit amfam.com to learn how discounts may apply to you. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light? You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Missed any of the show? Find us on Wisconsin On Demand wherever you get your podcasts. It's free, it's everywhere, and it's for you.
Nights like this, nights like this, more nights like this, nights like this, 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 more nights like this.
Friday at Scalzo and Brust across ESPN Wisconsin, presented by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it, because happiness is essential to living an exceptional life. Michelob Ultra, refreshing and balanced flavor with only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. Take some time to enjoy life. Enjoy a Michelob Ultra with friends. Ben Brust, Greg Scalzo hanging out. No Josh DiMaggio. You, the Scalzo and Brust family, calling, texting 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. Chris Larson, your cousin sub of the day. But right now, as we do every Friday, it's time to go pole dancing.
They've got questions, and we've got answers. Time to give the people what they want. Let's go pole dancing on Scalzo and Brust.
Every week we go up and down the dial, 94.5 ESPN in Milwaukee, 100.5 ESPN in Madison, 1430 ESPN Beaver Dam. Shout out to you, Dodge County. To all of our fellow hosts, all of the fellow shows, the questions they themselves couldn't answer, the polls they post, and we say, you know what? We'll help you out. We'll answer it for you. Chris, what do we got this week?
All right, start off on pole dancing here, guys. Let's start off with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy, which you can hear weekdays from 7 to 9 right here on ESPN Milwaukee. Given the list of available wide receivers, do you want the Packers to sign a veteran free agent wide receiver? Yes, 51%. No, 49%.
What are we doing here? I mean, at this point, like, if they were going to sign a wide receiver, they would have done it in free agency. Now you have 2 second-year guys, 3 rookies, and then 2 rookie tight ends. You might as well build those guys up. The only benefit to maybe adding a veteran would be to guide them in the process of maturing as wide receivers, but I'm shocked by 51% of the people saying yes, because if there was any time to sign a veteran wide receiver in free agency, it was the last 2 seasons. Not named Sammy Watkins.
I mean, there just aren't that many wide receivers left.
That's what I'm saying. Like, if they were going to do it.
I still think they end up signing one.
Regardless,
I'm not saying they're going to make
point stands. They ain't going to do anything to help the team.
Well, Kenny Galladay action?
It's what? High ceiling. I don't know. Galladay was so good at Detroit, and I don't know what the hell happened to him.
I think the ship has sailed on Kumarao. Jarvis Landry?
No.
Byron Pringle? N'Keal Harry, former first-round pick? Kenny Galladay. That would be my guess.
Again, like, I would be so pumped about that if this was 6 years ago.
I mean, you wonder if it helps to have a veteran in the room. Like, you're going to have second-year guys who, by the way,
Galladay's kind of been a cancer in the locker room the last couple of years.
You're probably right. Maybe I'm wrong on him. But you have a locker room that talked last year about young guys not being mature enough, not doing the things off the field that translates to success on the field. And now you have a whole room full of first and second year guys at the wide receiver position. And I'm not saying that Rodgers was specifically referring to Dobbs and Watson, but it sure as hell felt like they were a part of that, especially given the fact that they were like, yeah, we didn't get a lot of time with Rodgers. Rodgers tends to invest his time with the guys that are willing to invest back, and those guys didn't get a lot of time with A-Rod. Just like MVS his rookie year, and then he stepped it up, matured, and changed. Now, maybe those guys
started reading Aaron's books.
Maybe those guys with the void of leadership will step up, but I do think that room could potentially benefit from having a veteran in there if it's the right veteran. I don't know enough about.
Oh, and by the way, I mean, this team, beyond the amount of rookies and second-year wide receivers, this is a young-ass team. It's probably the youngest team in the NFL. I think there's like 4 guys over 31, and then there's like 5 guys that are 28. The rest are 27 younger. It's insane.
Next up.
Moving on to pole dancing here. Sticking with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy. Chewy wants the NFL to expand player jersey numbers into the 100s. Is this a dumb idea, or are you also on board with it? Dumb idea, 88%. Bring on the 100s, 12%.
So dumbest idea of all time.
I love this idea so much.
Why?
101, 158.
Why? But you don't need it.
But like, just who cares? Why not? Because it's against traditional football 1 through 100?
So then I could be like number 1272? Like, when do you cut it off?
When the jersey can't fit the numbers.
But it's already the case. The jerseys are fitted for a certain font size of the number.
Yeah, I just think the idea of like 137 is just
so
amazing.
Dumb. It's just like, it's pointless.
Sometimes the dumb ideas are the best ideas.
I disagree. You don't need that many. You got 53 guys on a roster. Maybe 10 numbers are retired.
Here's what's happening right now. I get a kick out of Chewy. I think his wacky idea. I think
you're
he's
sucking
funny.
up to him. You're scared of Chewy.
He ain't listening. You kidding me?
You're letting him boss you around a little bit.
No, I trust me. I don't know if I told you.
You're just kissing that big old butt.
I don't know if I told you, but when we had a Jen, Gabe, and Chewy breakfast scrubs event at our offices here in Milwaukee.
Isn't that the one you mocked?
A little bit. I mean, breakfast scrubs. I mean, are we serious? Let's come up with a little something.
It's a great event.
Great event, bad name. I digress. I took a picture with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy along with you, Greg Scalzo. I put my arm around Chewy. It was a little A little more flubber than I expected for the big guy. I even called him out.
What'd he say?
Wait till summer. Wait till summer. Like a classic meathead.
Well, he's in bulk up, and then you got to shape down.
Yeah. Kind of was disappointed in him, to be honest. I always hype up his muscles. Now I just know he's all like, go to the gym, biceps, biceps, biceps.
His muscles are massive.
No, not his lats. I touched like
his muscles are 3 or 4 times the size of yours.
Yeah, but it's
6 times the size of mine.
also covered by a lot that I didn't think was there.
Chris, do you think it's fair for Ben Brust to be criticizing Chewy's physique of all people?
I wouldn't criticize his physique. He's a
What, are you
large.
scared of him?
He's a large human being. Yes.
What, is he gonna punch you? He'll get fired. I ain't scared of that little weenie.
He's a large, massive human being. So.
And I didn't feel like it.
Winter bulk.
In more ways.
Winter bulk, summer cut.
That's right. That's right. All right, what do we got next?
All right, moving on. Sticking with Jen, Gabe, and Chewy for one more. Which Packers draftee will make the biggest immediate impact? Lucas Van Ness, 28%. Luke Musgrave, 46%. Jalen Reed, 22%. Other, 4%.
Look, I don't want this to be my answer, but it's Musgrave. Because
Definitely Musgrave.
The tight end position was so bad that can only make an impact that is actually positive for the team.
I think Reed is another option.
That's where I wanted to go.
But I think Musgrave is going to be the starting tight end. He's going to be main pass catching option and should serve as a safety blanket
Middle of the field blanket
for a guy who's ultimately going to be incentivized to have a high completion percentage and a high passer rating and limit his turnovers because that's how he gets paid the following year. So and I'm not saying that he's not going to go long or anything. And I think Reed is a guy who can be productive wide receiver, but I think Musgrave is the answer. I'd follow that up with Reed. I think Van Ness is going to have trouble making a massive impact early on.
I think he'll show flashes, but I think he's a longer term, like, let's grow him.
I worry a little bit on Van Ness. I worry he's a little bit of a looks the part guy, and everyone's going to talk about how much he looks the part.
Production, you're worried?
Still worried about him.
Is it because of anything that his dad did?
No, I wouldn't hold that against him. I just think that he's young, which is great. I just think that he's going to have to develop a lot in the NFL to be a real difference maker at the edge and a consistent contributor.
I was listening to Wilde and Tausch. They had an NFL Films guy on breaking down Lucas Van Ness, and I heard the word J.J. Watt comparison in terms of how you can move him around inside, he can go outside. I was like, whoa.
He looks the part.
I know, but whoa.
Yeah.
And wrapping up pole dancing here with one from Homer and Tony, weekdays 2 to 4 here on ESPN Milwaukee. Do you think the Packers will end up overpaying for Jordan Love? No, 60%. Yes, 40%.
Now, oh man, I'm going to go with no here. I don't think they end up overpaying for him because ultimately, as much as we've talked about this contract and the incentives and what's going on here, he's only guaranteed $15.3 million, maybe 15.8 with the roster bonus next year, in which over 2 years for a starting quarterback in the NFL, if he's great, he's going to be worth the money. And if he's not, well, they already didn't overpay for him because if you have a starting quarterback for 2 years at 15.3 guaranteed and his incentives are going to be hard to hit.
They didn't overpay for Jordan Love.
No, like, will they? I think the question was, will they at the end of his career? Like, reread the question.
Do you think the Packers will end up overpaying for Jordan Love?
No. Like, I don't think it's referring to the end of his career.
I was going to say, maybe this question came
It's basically saying, does he
we
stink?
knew the incentives.
It's basically saying, does he stink? Because then you'd be overpaying him. But even if that's the case, you're not.
Yeah,
paying him
15.3 over 2 years.
Paying him backup quarterback money in 2024. You know he's your starter in 2023. He's got, like, again, even if the incentives hit and he's making $11 million, I bet you there's some backups there that are making, $10 million.
What didn't Jameis make a crap ton to go back up in forget where? There's bad backup contracts that are way worse than what Jordan Love will have for being the starter quarterback for the next 2 years.
I'm on Jordan Love bus.
Oh, you're
Love
full
bus.
of crap.
Jordan Love Boat. Great show. You ever watch Love Boat?
No,
I think
never heard of it.
Really?
I think we gotta start talking more crap about Jordan Love.
Why?
'Cause I want to hear from Mark New Berlin.
Mark New Berlin is hibernating right now until football season.
I was going to say he probably doesn't want to say anything until he sees what the Ferrari does out of the garage.
We'll see.
But one Ferrari that I have every time I come out of the freezer is this Palermo screaming Sicilian. It's so screaming fast and screaming good. I tried. You can say it. Not my best.
It's all right.
But it is so screaming good, whether it be the 2.5 feet of stuffed crust in there, screaming Sicilian, I'm stuffed crust pizza with the whole milk mozzarella cheese and the secret tomato recipe sauce, whether it be the supreme pepperoni, sausage, pep, cheese, that is the 2.5 feet of stuffed crust that you can put with those pizzas. Don't forget about the craft pizza that's so screaming good, baby. It's the OGs. It's the Best Eater's Revenge. It's the Boss Hog. It's the Holy Pepperoni. It's the Mother of Meat. The Supremus Maximus. The Mambo Italiano.
Mambo.
Getting better, Chris.
Yeah, Chris.
Yeah.
Well done.
Give yourself a round of applause real quick. Woohoo. Fireworks. Thin and Crispy is amazing. Palermo's is amazing. Urban Pie. Screaming Sicilian. Primo Thin. They have it all. They're hiring as well. Go find your screaming pleasure in your local grocer's freezer and stay tuned for free beer and free pizza Friday coming up in a little bit.
Woo! 800-990-3776 and 800-990-ESPN. We'll talk with you, the Scalzo and Brust family, next.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
Egg salad out of a vending machine or gas station sushi?
Egg salad.
I stopped off at a gas station for a snack, and I ended up with a full Bavarian pretzel the other day. Like a soft pretzel. It's a wild ride.
Did you have nacho cheese with it?
No. I raw dogged it.
Scalzo and Brust. Available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Still have some big problems in the Johnson Creek area. Westbound 94 is the left lane blocked right between Highway X and Highway 26. Serious accident there, so if you can avoid that area, that would be your best bet. We also have some big delays on southbound 894, an earlier broken down vehicle close to the Hale interchange, still causing some problems with the left lane blocked there. Eastbound 94 hitting the brakes around 84th Street. Don't really let up till you get past the Stadium interchange. Southbound 43 has a couple of pockets of heavy traffic coming down from Silver Spring down past Hampton Avenue. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, a chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy. Another chance of showers or storms at night, a high of 64 at the lakefront, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Cedar Ridge Distillery continues to make a home right here in Wisconsin. The original 86 bourbon is the best-selling bourbon in Iowa for 3 straight years, and you have the opportunity to get that here in Wisconsin. Also, the quintessential, the best American single malt, voted by John Barleycorn Awards, and Cedar Ridge manages every step of the production from grain to glass. Make sure you pick up the Scalzo and Brust private barrel of bourbon and rye whiskeys, available at Discount Liquor at 51st in Oklahoma or Barstow in Maine in downtown Waukesha. Ben Brust here for my favorite racetrack in North America, and that is Road America. Race fans, it's time to make your summer plans for fast family fun at Elkhart Lakes Road America. Experience 10 major races from vintage weekends to high-thrill NASCAR racing at the best NASCAR track in America. Bring the entire family for more affordable fun with on-site camping, free parking, and most of all, free admission for kids 16 and younger. See the full race schedule at roadamerica.com. Road America, America's national park of speed.
Life's more rewarding at Blaine's Farm and Fleet, especially when it comes to gardening. Right now, get unbeatable deals on supplies to support your backyard bounty. Like all Livingston vegetable and flower seeds, 25% off MSRP. 32-ounce Bio Advanced Tree and Shrub Concentrate, $24.99 after mail-in rebate. Shop our selection of live flowers and plants in our outdoor garden center, now open at most locations. Plus, this Saturday from 9 a.m. to 2 p.m., come test drive select riding mowers and lawn tractors during Blaine's Farm and Fleet's Ride and Drive event.
Hey, it's Jason Wilde for Racine Danish Kringles. Mother's Day is Sunday, May 14th, and you can ship Mom something just as sweet as she is. A Kringle from Racine Danish Kringles. Get her favorite Kringle in a specially designed Mother's Day gift box. Just go to Kringle.com or call 1-800-4DANISH to order. Have it conveniently shipped right to Mom and consider surprising your grandmother, too, with a Kringle. Again, Kringle.com or 1-800-4DANISH. Racine Danish Kringles. It's not just a treat, it's a tradition.
They say consistency is the key to success. They weren't wrong. So how about grabbing a beer that's consistently smooth, consistently refreshing, and consistently light. You might just find that the road to success can be pretty enjoyable. Michelob Ultra, the perfect balance of taste and refreshment, and only 2.6 carbs and 95 calories. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy responsibly. Anheuser-Busch Michelob Ultra Light Beer, St. Louis, Missouri.
Jordan Love has been extended.
This means Goody is a genius.
Are they ready for him to be the guy?
Jordan Love is just, you know what, man, I haven't proven it. I need to go out and prove this. And when I do, y'all are going to be paying me.
React to the news and get ready for the Love era in Green Bay right here.
The moment was not too big for him. You could see that.
On 94.5 ESPN and streaming live every day on WisconsinOnDemand.com, Twitter, and YouTube. You're listening to Scalzo and Brust on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Michelob Ultra, official beer of the Milwaukee Bucks.
I can never forget it. Promise me that you don't regret it. You and I were together.
Scalzo and Brust presented by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. He's Ben Brust. I'm Greg Scalzo. Chris Larson in for Josh DiMaggio running the show. You, the Scalzo and Brust family, calling, texting 800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. 608 chimes in and says all NFL quarterbacks are grossly overpaid, so the Packers will end up overpaying for Jordan Love. It's moronic. I'm sorry, 608. It's just dumb.
Is Giannis overpaid?
It's the most important position in sports. If you have a great quarterback, then you're in the mix to win a championship.
The only person that I would say is overpaid in the state right now is Christian Yelich.
It's an unnecessary shot.
Might have
Still
been.
ricochet right there.
Might have been.
Chris in Sheboygan said, if we go 3-14 with Love being the quarterback, do we draft Marvin Harrison Jr. with our top 5 pick, finally breaking our first-round wide receiver drought?
Nope.
I doubt the Packers would, but maybe.
Wouldn't be a bad idea.
And merely having the opportunity to do so, I think would be a benefit for the Packers. And that's why I do think that, like, if you can have a season where you get the highest draft pick possible while knowing Jordan Love is your quarterback for the future, that's the best concoction for this Packers franchise moving forward.
Hang on, take me through a little history here. What the hell's going on at Lambeau Field? On NFL Network right now, the Packers are down like 20. They're down 14 points at home. This one's definitely ahead. But how the hell you get blown out by the Minnesota Vikings at home?
I mean, this Vikings team was a good Vikings team.
Is that Randall Cunningham?
No, that was Dante Culpepper and I believe it was Culpepper and Chris Carter. Yeah, and I don't know what year it is exactly.
This is the 98 game.
Yeah, 1998. It's a great Vikings team. Robert Smith at running back.
That was Moss's rookie year, wasn't it?
Yep, Moss was a rookie.
Are we sure Culpepper's on this team? He was a number 7.
Maybe you're right. Maybe it is Randall Cunningham. Because I guess Culpepper got drafted after Moss.
Number 11, right? Sorry for that.
I haven't seen the quarterback throw it. I've been hosting a radio show. I haven't been watching the TV.
It's right over your head.
That's great. I knew that there was a game on, but I haven't been looking at the quarterbacks or whatnot. I just assumed if they were scoring that many points, you'd have Dante Culpepper throwing it to Randy Moss. But if you want to run through the 1998 Minnesota Vikings, it was Randall Cunningham, Robert Smith, Moss was a rookie, Chris Carter, Jake Reed, underrated third wide receiver right there. Heck, they had Randall McDaniel on the offensive line.
That's a fake name. Randall McDaniel?
You don't know Randall McDaniel?
That's a sweet name. Randall McDaniel?
I mean, is he a Hall of Famer?
I mean, look, I'm not
It'd be better if it was Randall McDanielson.
He was a Pro Bowler that year. They had Jeff Christie, a Pro Bowler as well. 3 Pro Bowlers on the offensive line. Corey Stringer is a young right tackle. Started 14 games there. That was a good team. They were able to put up some points.
Yeah, they went 15-1, but they lost to the Falcons in the NFC Championship game, I think it was.
Huh. That's right. It was the Dirty Bird, the Jamal Anderson Atlanta Falcons.
Your knowledge never ceases to amaze me. Or are you merely looking that up right now?
Who forgets Jamal Anderson and the Dirty Bird? You don't know what I'm talking about?
I have no freaking idea. Who's the Dirty Bird?
It was the dance
they did in the end zone.
Never seen it.
You were I guess you were only 8 years old at the time.
1991, I was born in October.
Yeah, so you're 7 years old.
And as we discussed recently in this week, I don't remember anything until 2nd or 3rd grade.
800-990-3776, 800-990-ESPN, the number to get into the show. So, Ben, you think that right now, I answered where I see Jordan Love fall in the NFC quarterback hierarchy. Where do you see Jordan Love in the NFC quarterback hierarchy?
I have him in the same spot because I got Kirk ahead of him, Geno ahead of him, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, Danny Dimes, Derek Carr, and Justin Fields better. I can't get it out of my mouth to say that Baker Mayfield will be a better quarterback next year than Jordan Love. Great. Congratulations to Baker Mayfield at the end of the season on one of the worst Rams teams of all time. He had a comeback on a Thursday night football game. I got nothing for Baker Mayfield. He does have some weapons to throw to, but he had weapons to throw to in Cleveland as well. I'd like to think that Matt LaFleur, after 3 years with Jordan Love, can put him in position to be a top 8-9 quarterback in the NFC, where there's not just a gauntlet of franchise quarterbacks.
800-990-ESPN, 800-990-3776. I think he'll end up higher than that. I know we're doing the player-to-player comparison. I do think with LaFleur, being in this system for as long as he is, it's just so hard to know what he's going to be. And that's what makes it such a compelling conversation. We did talk a lot of Bucks with the dismissal of Coach Budenholzer. We talked a little bit about where your feelings were as far as nobody being better necessarily than Coach Bud that's out there. Maybe people is equal, he's qualified as Bud is. I'm not asking what you think they should do, but what do you think they will do in terms of hiring of their next coach?
I mean, the safe play, if he's interested, is Nick Nurse. I mean, they have familiarity of watching him out-duel Coach Bud, you could say, in the Eastern Conference Finals of 2019. He has a championship on his resume, and I will say, if the Bucks hire someone without an NBA championship on their resume, they are doing a disservice to themselves in their attempt to keep Giannis Antetokounmpo beyond the 2 years that are left on his contract with a player option.
Yeah, I know the other one that gets mentioned quite a bit that we really haven't is Charles Lee, the assistant for Coach Bud, but that would feel...
Charles Lee was on the staff. He could have helped Coach Bud in the moments in which they were not doing great.
Correct.
That's why I can't get... I haven't even mentioned that one. I know I've seen that one too. Can't get behind that, because if you're hiring Charles Lee and getting rid of Bud, get the heck out of here with that.
Benny, why don't you tell us about our friends at Water Joe?
It's water that keeps me going throughout the day. Simply water with caffeine. Healthy and clean energy. Whenever I feel like I need that pick-me-up, I'm not going to bash everyone's habits, but just think about what you're putting in your body. When you're putting in water and caffeine, you're giving yourself energy and cleanliness, and something your body is made up of, 80% of, if I'm correct or not correct on that one? So you're filling yourself with what you need, with energy. Think about those sodas that you have, bad stuff all around. Pick it up at any of your favorite retailers. Once you have one and feel the Water Joe effect, you're going to be like, ooh, I need that a part of my everyday life. Gets me through my work days, gets me through days where I need to pick me up on the weekend, maybe after I drink too much. That doesn't happen all the time, but I need it. Water Joe, clean, healthy energy. Pick it up at your favorite local retailer.
About 60%.
Body. Where is all that water?
What do you think it is? We'll discover it next. It's Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
I'm genuinely curious.
You're listening to Scalzo and Brust, presented by Michelob Ultra.
You know the rule about double dipping, Greg. Double dipping in the same game's tough.
I mean, they brought in Whipple, the former offensive coordinator for
No justification, kiddo.
Scalzo and Brust, available anywhere you get your podcasts with Wisconsin On Demand.
Woo! I am thirsty today. Definitely going to need a cold one. There's the one. Baseball season is fully underway, which means we're talking to one of the best baseball-themed brews that's out there. Our guy, Tim Pauly from Broken Bat Brewery, is here to tell me all about the Summer Crushers that Broken Bat has in store for everyone to enjoy.
Cream Ale, the Ball and Glove is just super easy drinking beer, man. We came out with that specifically for summer patios, parking lots, after you cut the lawn. Nice, easy drinking, straight as an arrow cream ale. And then the Dunkelweiss and the dark wheat, we got a German brewer back there, Big Carl. So he's into his German beers, and he's super proud of it. Little weedy, got a little bit of a nutty kind of oaty taste to it. Super easy drinking, 5.5%.
Thanks again for Tim to telling us all about the Ball and Glove and the Stoinkers beer. Remember, baseball season's here, so get that fridge stocked.
The Club at Lac La Belle is the birthplace of golf in Wisconsin, with a rich history you will feel once you arrive. Experience a round at the Club at Lac La Belle. The redesigned course is open to the public 7 days a week. Schedule your tee time today at clubatlaclabelle.com. This is a golf destination that you will want to play over and over again, and enjoy fine dining and event space after your round. An historic past meets a vibrant future. Go to clubatlaclabelle.com to start your journey.
Times of transition, whether from a sad event or a joyful one, can leave us feeling adrift. Social connections are an important part of a healthy life. Being isolated and lonely can be harmful to your health. It can lead to high blood pressure, a greater risk of heart disease, and early onset dementia. So it's important to build and maintain connections to people, not just in your family, but others whose relationships bring meaning to your life. Trying a new hobby, volunteering, exercising, even using your phone or other device to stay in touch with others. All these can be great ways to keep up your social connections and your physical and mental well-being. Visit connecttoeffect.org to see if you're at risk of social isolation and find ways to get connected. This message is brought to you by United Healthcare and AARP Foundation.
It's time for today's STEM tip. Okay, you know recycling is important. No one wants plastic in the ocean. Here's a cool way to repurpose a plastic bottle. Build an awesome terrarium. Cut a large plastic bottle in half and fill the base with sand, pebbles, potting soil, and your favorite plant. I chose an African violet. Put the top of the bottle over your base and place it in the sun. Your plant will grow sealed in its own ecosystem. Fun, right? Learn more at She Can STEM. A message from the Ad Council.
Gabe Neitzel here. This week on the tee, Stephen Watson and I are going to discuss the latest elevated event on the PGA Tour. Plus, I think, finally, maybe, we're getting good enough golf weather that we can get outside, play some golf, and talk about that. It's all coming up Monday at 6 o'clock on the tee, 94.5 ESPN and WisconsinOnDemand.com.
On the Tee with Gabe and Steven, Mondays at 6 on 94.5 ESPN. Presented by Wisconsin Golf Trips. It's free beer and free pizza Friday on Scalzo and Brust. Stay tuned to win a case of beer from Ben's Beer Fridge and the overtop deliciousness of a screamin' Sicilian pizza. Whew, it's so screamin' good.
Save me, save me, save me.
We made it, Wisconsin. It is 5:55. It is Friday. It's a beautiful day. Scalzo and Brust presented by Michelob Ultra. It's only worth it if you enjoy it. Enjoy it responsibly. Ben Ross thinks 80% of the human body is made up of water. It's closer to 60% for the average human male.
So why is it, if that's true, when I get cut that I bleed, I don't leak water? You know what I mean?
You're an idiot.
No.
What do you mean?
Like, where's all the water, Greg? Like, is blood made up of water?
Blood is 83% water.
Didn't know that.
Your brain is 75% water. The heart, 79% water. Muscles, 75% water. The liver's 85% water. Kidneys are 83% water. And bones are 22% water.
Where's all... What?
Where do you think moisture comes from? Like, what do you
I
think?
don't know. I wrote
You don't
down,
think there's any water in your skin?
Is there water and blood? I got bones in me. Like there's 250 plus bones, right? How many bones you got in your body?
I don't know the exact number off the top. I was reading the water in the human body statistics off the internet.
Free beer,
Benny, why don't
Pizza
you-
Friday. No water involved with this. 800-990-3776. A free Screamin' Sicilian Pizza plus a case of Broken Bat Brewery's delicious beer. Caller 1 in Madison, caller 1 in Milwaukee, 800-990-3776. One more time, 800-990-3776.
Joe and Amber coming up next across ESPN Wisconsin. Have a weekend, Wisconsin!
Still dealing with an accident in Johnson Creek. Westbound 94 has the left lane blocked between Highway X and Highway 26. That's really causing big delays through there. Another accident on 94 southbound, right at the end of the Elm Road on-ramp. The right lane is blocked, so everybody's trying to shift over towards the left to try and get around this. Gonna get a little sticky through there. Eastbound 94 through the Zoo interchange all the way through the stadium. That's gonna be a heavy pocket right there. Also, 894 southbound onto the ramp to 894 eastbound. We've got some delays there. And checking the TMJ4 Storm Team forecast. Tonight, mostly cloudy, a low of 52. Tomorrow, chance of showers early, then becoming partly cloudy. Another chance of showers or storms at night, a high of 64 at the lakefront, 72 inland. From the WTMJ Traffic Center, I'm Debbie Lazaga on 94.5 ESPN.
Here in Wisconsin, one name is synonymous with fantastic frozen pizza, Palermo's. For almost 60 years, Palermo's has focused on feeding Wisconsin families. And though Palermo's has grown a lot since 1964, there's still